Teaching Tuesday that you haven't had the opportunity to catch in the past, you can always just go to the Facebook page and see any previous ones there. Sound good? All right, ladies, welcome this morning. We have a lot of ladies that are going to be popping in here. This was a highly registered one. So Katrina, congratulations. It's always great when we have a lot of ladies register. They range anywhere from 6 ladies registering to 45 ladies registering. You just never know what you're going to get. And it really is just about the topic, I think, what resonates with people, where they're at in their businesses, what resources they want to tap into. Obviously, this is a resource that every business owner should want to tap into because I actually tap into Katrina Sawa a lot. She's got a great community and she's well connected to other people as well. So you'll learn more about her today. But before we get started, I just wanted to remind all of you that this Teaching Tuesday platform is for our members and for them to come forward and teach their brilliance. If you're not a member of Lead Up for Women, I'm going to highly encourage you to think of joining our community where you can teach one of these Teaching Tuesday platforms as well. In fact, the members have the opportunity to teach twice a year on this platform. They do the podcast, the magazine. Katrina just sent me an article for the next upcoming issue of the magazine. So you have the opportunity, everything we have available, to stay in the spotlight at least once a month with Lead Up for Women, with everything we do for you. And of course, connecting and collaborating with all the other ladies is such a plus. So just wanted to share that, as well as let me tell you a little bit about Katrina, because today we're going to be talking about how to develop your speaking topic to make people want what you've got. And I love the way she said that, because isn't that the truth? Why are we spending money to pay to play? Why are we spending money, or not even spending money, but spending our energy and our time putting together signature speeches, showing up on stages, if we're not compelling people to want what we've got? What you say and how you impact is so important. And Katrina's going to talk all about that today. So I met Katrina, honestly, it seems like it's been 5 years ago, but I swear it's been maybe a year.
Probably. No, January.
So not even a year. So January. I met her at David Fagan's event. And since I met her at David Fagan's event, I reached out to her. Remember, I tell you guys the follow-up, the fortunes in the follow-up. When I met her and saw that she had authored so many books, and I was contemplating possibly wanting to do another book, I reached out to her. And the first thing I asked her was, okay, you got to tell me, how did you author all these books? So remember, we talk a lot about when you want to be an author, you reach out to authors. When you want to become rich, you reach out to people that are rich. You should be reaching out to people that are doing what you want to be doing. If you want to build a community, you should be reaching out to me to ask me how I built my community. Reach out to people to ask the questions and don't reinvent the wheel. So that's what I did. I reached out to Katrina. I asked her the questions. How did you do this? Before I know it, I invited her in to talk to my clients about compilation books. I started a compilation book with her. She's working with several of my clients on compilation books. So it's amazing what happens when you do a follow-up with someone. And so I encourage all of you, again, I've loved meeting Katrina. Her and her husband were just in Arizona not too long ago. My husband and I got to go out to dinner with them a couple of times. We refer business back to each other consistently. Now I'm in another project of hers in a book. She'll be in every project of mine, in every book moving forward, just like she was in my last one. But she's a great resource to reach out to. So keep people in your vicinity, right? Proximity is that's the book. I know, I just finally got my regular one in the mail that don't have the stripe across it, the author's.
Yay. I got mine too.
On the Lunch and Learn on Thursday, we're going to be giving away a copy of this book because I just got my box. They just showed up, and I'm so impressed on how well the book is laid out. And she was the publisher that took care of my book and all of my authors. Trisha's also in that book. Again, it was just so well done. And we had such a fun time and learned so much from her during the process of how to market yourself. And that's really what she's going to be talking a lot about today. That is her specialty. is how to market yourself so people want what you've got. So Katrina is a great friend of mine. You need people like this in your pocket, in your friendship circle, in your proximity. So Katrina, take it away.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I think almost everybody. I'm not sure who Kay McGuire is. It could be Kimberly, it could be Kelly. We don't know.
I don't know.
And Sylvia, I don't feel like we've met, but I know you're driving. So we want to talk about speaking today. And I don't have this big, long PowerPoint. I have like one slide that we can show just to give you a visual. I'm kind of a visual person. When somebody's explaining a lot of stuff, I like to have a picture, right? Anybody like that? Anybody visuals? Who's my visuals?
I'm a visual.
Okay, good. All right. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but so speaking, right? Why? I think all of you are already speaking. I'm pretty sure. I don't know about the two that I mentioned, but I'm pretty sure all of you are already speaking. But are you monetizing it enough? Are you getting enough speaking gigs? I'll tell you, a couple of years ago, I tracked my speaking. And speaking is like whether you're speaking in person on stage or speaking virtually on stage at an event or a podcast or a radio show, or even, well, let's just take all the ones you get booked for first, right? Because we know Facebook Live is a speaking gig technically, but it's not what I'm talking about. 1 year I tracked about 86 talks in 1 year. Now that I think I'm over 100 this year, or in the last 12 months, because that's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. And the longer you speak, the more you speak, the more you get asked to speak. So you do want to speak as much as possible, but you also want to make sure you're not just speaking and getting compliments, but you're speaking and getting cash flow, okay, and clients. So if you're speaking, and you're not seeing clients come from it, then the presentation that you're doing and or how you're presenting yourself and or making offers is not working. We need to change it quickly and swiftly before you do too many more talks so that you can actually make more money, right? Tracy says, always get some leads, but never have much luck on Facebook. Okay, great. Facebook Live, yes. And you guys can unmute. So this is more of an interactive discussion, okay? I know quite a few people here, and this is an interactive discussion. I wanna find out, what are your biggest challenges? So the reason that we designed the talk title the way it is, which is how to design your talk to make everyone want what you've got to offer, is because a lot of times people say, yeah, I'll speak for you. I'm gonna tell you everything I know about my topic, blah, right? And then that's it. But you've got to craft your talk so that they want more information. They want to buy from you. You have to craft your talk. You can't just talk, okay? You can't just give a presentation. You have to craft your talk strategically. This is key. And most people will just fly through their intro. And so Colleen introduced me. She didn't necessarily read my full speaker bio, which is fine, because what she said was even better because it was more implied, whatever. What's the word?
Heartfelt.
It was very heartfelt. We have a personal connection, but if we didn't have a personal connection and she was just running a group and I didn't know her very well, she would read my introduction. Now, sometimes people don't read your introduction and then you're like, oh, well, these people have no idea what I do. So you have to work in a little bit of that into your introduction or throughout your talk. I just happen to be good and well practiced on how to seed in some credibility things. I might say, gosh, this is one of the key strategies I've been teaching my clients for the 19 years I've been a business coach. Do you see how I put in some credibility about being in business for 19 years? I don't necessarily have to say that all the time, but if my introduction was not read or that wasn't part of it, then I have to plug those little things. Now, you won't be probably very good at doing all of that in the beginning because you just need to get your talk down. I get it. And in the beginning, I had to have notes. Okay. So let me just tell you, my very first big talk was 250 people on stage for the Juice Plus regional convention and in Northern California. And I bombed. Okay. It was horrible. I still have dreams about it today because I was not ready. I did not practice. I'm kind of a wing it girl. I'm kind of a like fly by the seat of my pants. Not a good plan if you're in front of a big audience. Okay. And yeah, and I had note cards, like index cards. They were the big ones. Luckily I could see then. I didn't have glasses. And I had index cards, but I had not numbered them. And I didn't know the stage. The stage was very big. It was so big, like it probably took me a minute to cross it. Okay. It was so big. And there was only one little teeny tiny table way on one end. So if I wanted to put these note cards down, I had to walk way over there to put them down and then way back to get in the middle of the stage. It was, it makes me cringe just thinking about it. Anyways, my point is we have to get our talk down, and then we have to be able to add these advanced strategies. So if you're already speaking, it's time to add some advanced strategies. If you are just getting started speaking, let's just get it down. So you're confident, okay? We need to be clear on what we're doing, and then that increases our confidence, and then we can attract more cash flow, okay, and clients. And somebody said, recently I started my talk, and recently my notes were upside down after page 2 until page 7. Oh God, Tracy, I feel for you. Because I actually dropped my note cards at that event and they weren't numbered. And I was like, okay, this is why I bombed, because I didn't know my content well enough in order to just wing it. I was making up a new talk. So, I want to know, like, what is your guys's biggest fear about crafting your talk? What is your biggest problem, or what have you seen is not working? Like, you can put it in the chat, but if you want to also just share.
I would just have a conversation if you guys can, especially if you're driving. It might be easier to unmute, but unmute yourself and just, or if you can like electronically raise your hand. There's just, a handful of us. Go ahead, Trace.
Okay. What I'm struggling with, it seems like every time I get asked to do a different talk, it's like kind of a different approach. So I did one for mental health, like a mental awareness, health awareness. And so then I had to craft it a little bit different. So I'm struggling trying to get this darn thing memorized, because every time I turn around, it feels like I've got to tweak it in this level, go this angle, and then over here, I'm going over to this angle. Is that right? Or my coach kind of told me maybe I need to not say yes to those.
I was just going to ask you, is this your ideal audience, right? Is this your ideal talk?
I did pick up 2 clients though, because of it. So I don't know, like it was, but no.
Well, I mean, in the beginning, I said yes to everything and just figured it out. And honestly, I do say yes to most speaking things because I have a good variety of what I can speak on now. But in the beginning, no, I had like 1 or 2 talks. Or if you have a talk and you have, let's just say 5 keys to blankety blank. Okay. So if you have 5 keys to blankety blank, which is the majority of stuff that you teach, it's all in that one signature talk. You have literally 6 talks through that, okay? You have 1 talk where you give an overview of all the 5 keys, which you might need a longer 45 to an hour to do, right? Or you have a talk on every single one of those keys, because you can say, so this making everyone want what they've got to offer. I have another talk that is how to jumpstart yourself as a speaker, right? That has 6 keys, 6 strategies in it. And this is like one of the strategies, or it's like an overview of a couple of the strategies. So what my point is like, if you have something on what would be one of your keys, and just give me a topic, Tracy.
Okay. Your personal image and self-confidence.
Okay. That might be 2.
Impact on its self-confidence, like the personal image and its impact on your self-confidence.
Okay.
That's kind of like the one.
Right. So we come up with a hooky talk title that encompasses that. And I say hooky talk title because it has to be catchy for this entrepreneur world. Okay. It has to be juicy. The talk title is key, you guys. All right. So we come up with that. And then you say, look, this is just one step of my 5-step blankety blank system. And I'm going to share with you today. You're going to want to know the other 4 steps, I'm sure. But so here's a snapshot of the 5. You might have a slide that shows the 5 things. Well, we're going to go deep today on step number 1, because this is probably the most important thing that you need to know about blah, blah, blah. Right. And so then you go deep on the 1. So you go deep on that 1, that's all you give. And then this is where to find more. You can either get all the 5 steps if you go into this product or program, or you can come talk to me about coaching on this topic with you. And so that could be call to action. Okay. Does that make sense? So if you can design one talk for the 5 things, and then just be able to go deep on all 5, then you've got 6 talks. Does that make sense? But you don't have to change your talk. You just have to go deep on 1, or deep on number 3, or deep on number 5, or give an overview. And so that's where I recommend people start, is doing it that way. Okay. Does that fit for something that you're doing? I'm not sure if that's, I mean, I understand if you like, these people want you to speak and they want you to speak on something different. And I did do that one time. I spoke at a conference on video marketing. I do video marketing. I don't necessarily speak on it. I didn't have a talk on it. So I had to create one. And so I had to come up with the 4 keys of video marketing or something like that, right? Whatever I did. And so depending on if you're doing slides or not slides, it is kind of nice to be able to have them as a crutch. So you don't have to memorize it. I don't know where if you're doing that live in person or virtually. Virtually, we have all kinds of things we can use as a crutch.
Share some of those crutch things, because I'm struggling with it. Like, where I'm struggling with, when I show the screen, then I can't see the chat. And I'm making my speech very interactive. So I'm asking people all kinds of questions, and where do they rate themselves, and all of this, which is great. It's making it extremely interactive, but I can't read the chat and do the speech and read my cards at the same time. Like,
so one thing you might want to do is you might want to have a piece of paper with your notes. Like, this is the talk today that I'm doing, right? And so I have a piece of paper, and I actually have one of those little things. And if you were at one of my events, you might have gotten them, and I can't show you what it is because it's stuck to my computer, but it's a little thing that's stuck to my computer that holds paper.
yes.
Okay. So if you have one of those up on, you can, I mean, yes, you don't want to be over here looking like this and reading from your thing, right? Because it looks funny, but you can look at the chat while you're sharing your screen, by the way. You just haven't noticed that you could. So when you're sharing your screen, you have a little toolbar at the bottom. You can click chat and it opens up, and you can slide it to the bottom of the computer. So you can have your chat open, and I can also see heads. So I can see at least 4 or 5 heads over here.
Yeah.
So I can see, I'm not sharing right now, but you can see 4 or 5 heads, and you can see the chat when you're sharing. You just maybe didn't know.
I didn't know that. And,
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get it up, trying to make sure everyone can see it. I'm timed. I'm like trying to, be in the zone. And I usually have my little notes that are kind of like right here, that are like helping me go through it. So I have them here, which is great. So it's blocking the chat. I guess I could have them over here, but then that's where my mouse clicker to click this. I'm like, whew. Yeah, I mean,
I have to figure out how to get more organized, right?
Yes.
And so that you're more efficient. I get it.
Yeah.
And thank you for
Thanks
that.
for those
I
tips.
appreciate that. I'm sure you're not the only one that is struggling with how to look at your notes. Another thing you can do when you're sharing screen. So, when you share screen, you can share your whole desktop and they can see everything that's on your desktop, or you can just share one little piece, like your PowerPoint presentation, right? So if you just share one little piece, then you don't have to have it full screen on your computer. You can have it not full screen on your computer and also see your notes, perhaps.
Yeah.
That might be a little bit hard for me, but I also put notes in front of me. So I might have a harder notepad with a hard back, and I might stand it right in front of my computer. So it's leaning against my computer right there with big, huge, giant lettering. So I don't have to go, what does that say? Like, right? Okay.
Yeah.
What other things are you guys struggling with?
I just want to hop in.
Yeah.
If I can hop in. I raised my hand a bit ago because, Tracy, I wanted to support you in something. And Katrina, you can tell me to shut up if you want. But when what I've noticed a lot with folks when they have their specialty, but then they want to jump into the mental health, realm. So like, stepping out of into say a different genre, if you will. I've had to do that with addictions, talking to business people about their habits, right? Like, so there's ways to add, edit, and delete and stay in your craft in those realms. But with the mental health piece, like, you might want to just ask somebody like, hey, how would you word this for this specific population, if you're not, say, a clinician, right, or trained in mental health. I kind of have a little bit of a pet peeve there when people have no background in mental health come in and talk to people about their mental health. But so there's and Colleen's smiling because I mean I see a lot of people that over into that space, and I'm like, cover your ass, man, because if you cross into that mental health world and you don't have backing and you're giving advice on a mental health piece and you're not insured, you don't have malpractice insurance or whatever, right? Like, you want to be careful, and I don't want to blow that out of proportion, but there's ways to do it in an effective way and be able to reach those people. Because I'll tell you what, our body image is a big deal to us in the mental health world, and you have definitely something to bring to the table. You just want to make sure you know the audience that you're speaking to, and how to shift it for that. You can always ask me if you want.
Awesome.
Thank you, hon.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. So I'm going to share that one slide real quick, just so, can y'all see it okay?
Yeah, you know what, Katrina, I want to make a comment on that.
Yeah.
Nothing drives me crazier than when one of my clients say to me that, oh, hey, I'm talking on blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'm talking on blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, why did you say yes to that? That's not even that's not your ideal clients. It's not your ideal audience. It's not like what you normally. So I find sometimes people keep recrafting new and new and new every single time a new speech. Get a signature talk. Talk to the people that your audience, say yes, pay to play, spend the money, go to the places that have your ideal audience. And unless it's Oprah calling you to be on a stage, right? Then you're like, yes, I'll recraft a new talk and say what you need me to say. But honestly, I have to just say that drives me crazy. And I think it's a lot of wasted effort of recreating and recreating. Stick with what you do best. Stay in your lane, and that's what you talk on every single time, everywhere you go. Literally.
And for the most part, I would agree with you.
I know you have little niches, Katrina, like you could talk on marketing, and I could too. There's several different visibility pieces I can talk on. There's several different areas that I have expertise in, but those are the only things I speak on. If someone called me to talk, in the mental health area, whatever, I'd be like, not so sure that's, where I need to be. And I don't want to have to recrafting. So what would you say to that, Katrina? Because that's how I feel about it, but I'd love to hear how your opinion is about it.
Well, I think early on, it benefited me to create these different talks because I found those different things that people wanted. So there's a fine line between doing something that is outside your wheelhouse and creating something that is inside your wheelhouse you just haven't created yet. So there's a time for creating a new talk, as long as it is within your wheelhouse. And I would also add that you have something to roll people into from that talk. So if I'm talking on speaking, I have a speaker training. I also have a speaker live event usually every year, except for COVID. So I have call to actions. I have something to sell people from the speaking talk. I also have a free gift. So I have a free gift. I have a low price, $27 speaking thing. I have a $9.97 speaker thing, and I have an event speaker. I have 4 things that you could get from a speaker talk. So you have to reverse engineer your design, your talk based on what you're trying to sell. Okay. So always be with the end in mind. What are you selling? What are you selling? And then what do you need to do your talk? Now, I have a book called Love Yourself Successful. So I have like a soft talk that I could do that really, I mean, I could weave it into business stuff. I do often, but I could also leave it in the soft realm. Okay. So, but I still have that book to sell. And I also developed an online dating program for women over 40, in case you don't know. Like, I have a love funnel, right? So like, it got me down the line of creating new love stuff. So I have a love and money event. And so when you get asked to do some different things, sometimes it opens up a new path for you. But in the beginning, it can be very confusing to do that and overwhelming. So do it carefully and strategically, I would say. Yeah. Okay. Trisha says, I have a signature talks at a very, yeah. There's a lot of different things you could do, especially with her topic too, that could be all over the board, right? And you could still have a different talk title with one tip or something in there that speaks to that. And the rest of the talk is geared towards your regular talk. And then the same call to action. So you can spin it, but you have to get creative. That's usually more an advanced strategy, right? So I know there's some advanced people here, and then there's probably some beginners too. All right, so let me share this real quick. It's just and I usually share my whole screen, but I got a lot going on. So you can see this full screen, right? Yeah, somebody nod. Okay. All right. So these are the things that make up the talk that everybody wants, what you've got. And it's a lot. So don't get too overwhelmed. But first thing you think about is, what is the, like, sales is in the yellow is the big thing. How are you going to make money from giving this talk? If it's a paid talk, that's one thing. But if it's a free speaking opportunity for marketing sakes, then you got to think of the end in mind. So what are you going to sell? Even if you can't sell or make an offer, what are you going to share or promote or a lot of times when you can't sell at an event, or you can't make an offer, then you give something away. You give away the thing you want to sell. So today I could give away one of my speaker trainings, my $997 speaker trainings, if I wanted to, and I'd have to describe what it is so that people would want to enter the drawing. Right? So technically I'm selling it because I'm talking about it and I'm describing it and telling you all the benefits of it, but I'm not selling it today. I'm going to give one away. So that is not selling. Now, some groups will poo-poo that option. Actually, no, you can't even talk about it. And I've been to the events that do that, and that's okay. So just say, hey, I have a whole bunch of free resources on my website, and but then you have to have free resources on your website, right? Or come to a free call with me or whatever. So, but not everybody wants to rush to a free call with you these days. They're, number one, too busy, and number two, they're tired of being sold stuff and they think you're going to just sell them, right? So you think about the sales first and crafting your offers. So we just talked about that a little bit. And then you look at the positioning. Okay, positioning and the content next. And the positioning and the content is like we were talking about. So if you want to be known for XYZ, then you need to craft the talk around XYZ and be that expert and have the system. Don't just share, like, here's 3 tips I know from my 10 years and experience. No, this is my 3-step blankety blank system. This is my 3-step whatever system, okay, whatever formula, code, 3-step something. So you need to have that solution, that not just tips, but this is part of the positioning, okay? And then one thing about content is most people put too much content into a talk, too much content. Like if I had tips and outlines for all of these things, I mean, I'm just trying to share the overarching concept here and talking to a few of these points, right? So most people have way too much content. I've struggled this for years, you guys. And so I'm constantly pulling things out of my talk. And so you want to narrow it down to the real nuts and bolts, right? And something that people will go, oh, memorable, something memorable that people will remember you for, right? one of the things that I'm memorable for when I talk about speaking is creating those easy yes offers, right? Sometimes people get it wrong. They say the easy yes offers or easy something offers or easy yes, and they forget the offers. But the point is that's, oh yeah, those easy yes, right? Easy yes offers. Those are amazing to get people to take action today. And that could be a whole host of things. That could be, packaging a call with you, plus one of your books, plus a webinar that you did, something already pre-recorded, something, maybe an event or something that you're having live, or, a package together as an easy yes offer. As far as going back to the content, don't have 40 slides on one idea either. So like right now, the trend is less slides and more engagement on virtual. So that's why I'm showing you one slide. And then I have one at the end. And so I'm trying it new, because I used to pull out PowerPoints and go through my 20 to 30 slides of PowerPoint, but a lot of people don't want to be PowerPointed together. So by now you've already taken a picture of this if you want it, right? So I can stop sharing. But so the only two left is follow up and marketing. And so I am going to stop sharing because I want you to talk to me. So talk to me about your content first. Talk to me about your content. Who thinks they have too much content in their talks right now and needs to pull stuff out? Angie. Okay, what are you speaking on? Tell us. And is your average talk like 20 minutes like most of us, or 45?
So I'm just starting to do some talks, and some of it's been like invited to speak with more interview style on podcasts, and but I recently gave a talk, and it was really fun. It was 20 minutes. I had a blast doing it. And so I'm a sleep and circadian health coach practitioner. And so the talk I gave was all about using natural sunlight and to reset your circadian rhythm. And what I love about this topic is that it's so cool to look at like what the different frequencies of sunlight do for your body. And so I just found myself like nerding out and getting like really like, oh, and then this one does all of this stuff, right? And at the end of the talk, I had a lot of engagement and a lot of questions. And it's like, it's so exciting. I want to share it. But then like after hearing you speak, I'm like, wow, I don't think I needed to give them as much information, like maybe one or two benefits, not every single benefit for every frequency of light,
That was probably too much information for sure. Yeah. But what were you offering? Were you offering anything? Was the goal to sell something? Were they your target audience?
It was, so I had a tip basically of like a giveaway sheet that gave them different resources that they could download that would drive them to my website. And then also offered, if anybody, wants support with their sleep, let me know. Happy to help, kind of thing.
Okay.
It wasn't super direct, like buy my book, because I don't have a book yet. So,
okay. Yeah. Right. And we're fixing that because you're in Angie's book. Yeah. Or I'm sorry, Julie's book.
Yeah.
So let me just point out something you just said. You say, if you want some help, come and talk to me. That's too passive, right? Who thinks that's assertive?
No.
Okay, too passive, right? Yeah. If you want some help, come talk to me. Here's my contact page, or here's my phone number, or here's my email. Nobody, chirp, 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 right? Well, so we have to get more assertive. Assertive does not mean salesy, pushy, annoying. It means using different words, perhaps. Like, I know that at least the third of you are probably going to need me, right? I know that at least half of you are probably having, from my experience, at least half of you are probably having trouble sleeping. And you really need to take advantage of some of my resources, because this is just one piece of the pie. And so I'm you right now. This is just one piece of the pie. Talking about natural sunlight, it's not going to solve all your problems. It's one piece of the pie. And I have the whole pie back on my website. And I can talk to you about what pieces of the pie you might need depending on what's going on with you. So you need to schedule a call with me. and you need to do it this week, because how much longer do you need to go? What can you go on without like a successful night's sleep? You need to take action now. You're disrupting your productivity, your family life, your kids aren't getting the best of you. Stop it and do it now, right now. And here's the link where you need to sign up. Do you see how passionate that was? And it wasn't pushy and annoying. It was like I'm talking to the problem, and I'm like, you got to do this now. Why are you waiting? It's a simple solution, but you have to talk to me about it, because I have to diagnose what the issue is with you around your sleep. And we're going to figure this out. Do you see how confident and assertive that is versus what you're doing?
Very much.
So this is being recorded. So go back and listen, write it down. And then you've got your script. This is what people do with me, right?
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. I appreciate it so much.
But you have to get like adamant about, this is the solution for you if you have this problem. All of you have to get like that.
Well, and I love how you framed up like having the different types of talks, because my approach, I have 4 pillars in my program that I work with people on. And so I can see now having that overarching and then having the higher level talk for each of the pillars is beautiful, because it gives me variety to where I can, I can show up here and lead up a couple times a year and give different talks, and everyone's going to get a benefit from this talk, because everyone can, even if you're sleeping great, there's always room for improvement. So
there is. My husband was just saying it this morning. Oh, I wish I could get a really good night's sleep and feel rested. So we'll have to talk, right?
Call Angie.
Right? So these are the things that, so you have to say, is your husband complaining because he's not getting enough sleep or he's not feeling rested? Are you waking up not rested 3 or 4 times a week? You have to talk to me. You cannot go on any longer. You are losing revenue because of this. You're losing clients, and you're losing the quality time with your loved ones. Those are big, like, sticking points for people. So if you're not throwing those things into their face, they're not seeing it as urgent enough to do it right now, because they won't do it later. Right now, when you're speaking, is the time to catch them to do the thing, right? Now, if it's not the call, then you have to have something else. So sometimes when I'm speaking, I only have like 20 minutes, maybe 15, sometimes even a 5 or 10 minute talk. Tonight, I'm giving a 10-minute talk. Like you think that would be easier. It's harder. Like it's harder to figure out the one thing I want to share and seed a little bit of credibility and seed a little bit of this and have an offer all in 10 minutes, right? So it's actually harder. The longer you have to talk, the more comfortable you can be, because you can give some great content. You have time to think about all the, seeding stuff. You should make sure you have time to close and make an offer, right? So I'm looking at the clock because I know Colleen has to wrap it up, and she said, oh, you can make an offer. Okay, great. So, I want to give as much as I can, get really engaging, and then see if you guys want to do something with me, right? So I have to make sure I'm watching the clock and not over delivering and cutting out my time, which is what I used to do all the time for years. I would just say, oh, I just want to tell you more. I want to give you more. I thought by giving you more content, I was creating more value for you. But in reality's sakes, most people were like, oh, Katrina, you're like a fire hose. And I still get that today when people first hear me sometimes. But oh my God, today is nothing like it used to be. When I had a talk on follow-up or something, which I often have, it was like, I want to tell you everything I know about follow-up and craft every single email you're going to write and all the messages you're going to send in the mail. And I would give you all of that in one 30-minute talk. And people would be like, holy camole, Katrina. And then they would get so much information and take so many copious notes, right? That they wouldn't even think about hiring me because I have to implement all this stuff now, right? So you have to figure out how to not give so much that people are like, okay, great. Thanks for solving my problem. I'm going to go off and do the thing. And you're like, oh, and that's a great compliment of a teaching thing, but only if you're getting paid to do that, right? But the opposite of that, you don't want to do. You don't want, the whole saying in the speaking world for a long time was give them the what and the why, but not the how. And I don't, how many of you guys have heard that? Nobody. So I've been speaking for like 20 years, right? And so in the beginning, my teachers would say, you give them the what and the why. This is the problem. This is who needs it. This is why you need this solution. Here's the overview. And then, oh, you know, my talk's so short, I don't have time to give you all the how, but you can come and get it over here in my $5,000 program. And so that's what it was for the longest time, that you would feel cheated in a way because you didn't get really any nuggets, right? You felt like but they would sell like crazy because they were so good at talking to the problem and getting the emotion, getting the clients or the audience in that emotional state. Now we need them in the emotional state. Don't get me wrong. We need them to feel the pain. If I don't hire this person, or if I don't take their program, then I'm never going to get where I need it. And this is the solution. So you do need to make sure you convey that in a non, salesy type of way, but you also want to give them you want to wow them. You want to wow them with at least one or two things that can make them go, that is genius. I'm going to do that one thing, and then make them want more. And I see your hand. So just 1 second. And so what one of my speaking teachers used to say was problem, solution, PSPS. So as for short, your talk is identifying the talk title, right? How to make people get what you want in your talk, how to craft your talk to make people want what you've got. That is the problem I'm solving here today, right? Ideally, I mean, I'm trying to solve that problem in this talk, right? But then the problem becomes, okay, how do I get booked more? So then you need to get help getting booked more, right? So that becomes the next solution that I have to offer, perhaps. Right? So the solution that I might be offering is like, let me show you how to get booked more. Let me show you how to do a PowerPoint. Let me show you how to figure out your easy yes offer, or actually do the words in the presentation so that it flows really easy, doesn't sound salesy, and it's really authentic to you, but it's also making people take action. So creating and crafting that talk. Those are all things that I could do based on this talk. So problem, solution, problem, solution. So if I create that problem at the end of this talk, then you want to get the solution if you don't know how to get the solution to that. So that would be the next step. So that's how you got to think when you're designing your talk, is the talk is the solution to the problem people have. But at the end of the talk, you got to pose the next problem. Okay. So they want the next solution. So really, that was a golden nugget. When I paid $100,000 for that golden nugget and the overview multi-talk thing. Okay, you guys, so you're getting it for free. Okay, Helen, you had your hand up for a long time. What do you got to the questions? Something to say?
Okay, my dilemma, Katrina, is that I am a professor. So I talk a lot of academia speak, right? And my struggle is, and I've delivered, graduation speeches and so forth. I've delivered graduation speeches and, to large numbers of people. But my problem now is segueing from that academic spot to something that is really about my business, which I've been into ever since I got my doctorate a couple of decades ago. I do have clients. But my issue is, how can I be less academic and more personal and more connecting with people with regard to the problem that they have?
Unfortunately, you're not going to like this answer, but you've got to untrain your brain.
Yeah, it's hard.
You've got to train it differently for a marketing and talk. And when I say marketing, it doesn't mean it has to be salesy or icky. It just means you have to think strategic marketing strategy when you're giving your talk, rather than educational, I'm teaching a class, right? Those are for workshops. So what you might want to do as a business model, if you're not already doing it, is teaching a class, teaching a workshop, but charging for it, or teaching a 3-day or a 1-day or whatever it is. Because I'm a teacher too. I love teaching. Okay. My workshops, my 3-day workshops are 3 days of workshopping, it's teaching, it's working with people like this on topics, right? So if that's what you're prone to do, then create more paid workshops. And
Okay.
then, yes, because that's what you want. That's what you're super passionate. So when you're doing your talk, like say I was you right now doing a marketing talk saying, oh my God, I just can't wait to get you in my workshop so that I can teach you everything I know about XYZ. You have to join. It's going to solve your problems. I promise. You're going to get this, you're going to get that, you're going to get this. And just one thing I want to share with you today is blank, and you go deep on blank, but there's like 10 other things that we do in this workshop that you really want to come to. Do you see what I just did?
Yeah. So one more quick question, then I'm going to zip it. How would you said more paid workshops, but what if it was a podcast? So how would I handle that?
Well, a podcast is giving everything for free. So it's a marketing strategy. A podcast is a marketing strategy. It can be a business model if you're selling advertising spots or charging guests to be guests, which some people do. That's a business model. But then you're an ad sales.
So I'm thinking if I don't like
if you're
organize.
I would not do a podcast if I were you, honestly, because
Okay.
you are too much of a teacher. You will give everything away in the podcast. You need to do paid. If you want to get paid, I would do paid workshops if I were you. Okay. And I know this is like, there's podcasters out there say, oh no, she could do paid. You could do both, but you would be so focused on giving all your stuff for free on your podcast that you wouldn't monetize it as much, I'm fearing. And I have lots of well-educated academia clients who do this. And so this is why I know. And so I'm protecting you from doing too much for free. And that would be my advice to you. And we could talk more, but Trisha, what is you have something? What?
I'm so wrapped up in Helen's dilemma because I remember being in that space that I had a brain fart, but I'm back. I wrote myself a note so I wouldn't forget. So I think what you said there about the why or the what, the why, right? And
What,
then
the
the
why,
how.
but not
I
the
think
how.
that is
Yes.
so important because I've attended so many events in the space of learning online business, right? Becoming, outside of just a therapeutic office people come to, right? Like it's been a big transition. And I've gone to so many things and there's so much money where even in those ones that I paid for, like I still didn't get the answers. And it was so frustrating. I'm like, you're talking to my what? And you're talking to my why, and you're not giving me my how. So I'm paying you, but now you're telling me how to pay you more to get true how of what, so I think there's a fine line, guys, between giving too much and not giving enough. And I still toy with this. Like it's still a hard spot. But so I like that. And I think there's anything that we could, maybe, ourselves with Katrina for is to go, this is what I do, this is what I say, right? Like, tell me where's too much and tell me where's too little.
Yes.
As it's that we want people to sign up. I love this assertiveness piece, right? Like I wrote down this much on the piece of paper from what you said, already creating, because we tend to be like, okay, here's what, and we get them all hooked in, and then we tell them how, and we're like, if you need more help, let me know. So, but so I think that this was, whereas I'm still super vague, I don't really have an answer yet. I think that you sparked something for me. Am I giving too much of the how?
Can I check real quick with Samantha? Samantha, you're unmuted. I just wanted to see if you had something to say because we can't see you. Okay, I'm muting her back up. All right, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, thank you, Trisha. And I'm constantly, again, like I said, normally I do a PowerPoint. Today, what did I do? I've got one slide so far. I might get the other one in, right? Which is more of the call to action slide. So that's what I'm kind of training. And I talked to Agnes. Agnes was on my last speaker summit. She's speaking at the next one tomorrow. And so we her talk, right? Oh, let's just do one slide for you, Agnes. Let's just do one slide. You pop it up, kind of like, it's actually very similar to the one I did that when I showed you, because they're all done on Canva. It's super simple, you know? And so the point is that I'm trying to do less and less content and overwhelming, and you have to be able to adapt to the times. It's just very virtual in these days. I'm giving a talk in Minneapolis in a couple weeks, and in person on stage, and it's like a TED talk. So it's about 20 minutes, no slides, no nothing, right? So it has to be a little bit more memorized because I have to really stay to my time. So it's a little stressing me out, actually, because I'm not a practice girl. So we'll see how that happens. Please put some good thoughts out for me to do that in time and make a big impact. Any other questions? There's two more things I wanted to cover, unless anybody had. So there's marketing and follow-up, right? So the marketing is the thing we talked about in the beginning. And the marketing is how do you design the talk description to make people want to come to the talk? Right? So as a speaker booker, Colleen's a speaker booker. I don't know if anybody else is a speaker booker here, but when somebody fills out our little form and says, what's your talk title, what's your description and your bullet points, that has to wow me. Otherwise I'm like, like, I don't know, it looks kind of boring, or I can't tell what you're going to teach, or it doesn't entice me. You have to really work on that marketing copy, okay, to give to the person who's going to book you. And if you need help with that, you know, I got classes for that, but that's seriously so important. You can't just wing that. You have to put some thought into it. And I mean, you guys, I don't know where the talk description is from today's talk, but I have it up on my screen. I can show you. It's not the best, probably. But I have another one. So I'm not going to waste the time to talk about that, but I'm happy to give you some examples. Or you can download my speaker sheet from my speaker page, my speaking page on my website, and it's right there. So it has like 10 or 12 talks in it, and you can go look and redesign your talk descriptions. As far as the follow-up goes, that's where a lot of the sales are made. And you also have to be good in the chat room on a virtual call, for sure. You have to be good in the chat room. In a live event, for example, this one I'm doing in a couple weeks, I'm giving away this little handout. You can't see it, but this is my little handout. Right? It has the 8 things, because I'm talking about 8 things. I'm like, but I'm doing the deep dive. So I'm going to talk about number 1 and number 8 of these 8 things, because to do 8 things in 20 minutes is too much, right? And I have to remember it all. Forget that. I can't do 8 things. I can't even remember the 8 things in 20 minutes. I'm just being honest. So I can remember the first one. I can remember the last one. The rest of it, you got to come to my workshop. No, honestly, like, right. Like, and on the back, it's just notes, and I'm not supposed to put any links or anything on here. And I have a table display, right? So it says, come see me at my booth. So that's my call to action for my talk, is come see me in my booth, because I can't sell anything. I can't even talk about anything. I can't do anything. No selling like it's negative selling. So like I had to create a whole new handout for this with no links, because I put links on everything, because you should always be marketing. But my point is that have something for people, have a download in the chat, have a free thing they can go get them on the email list. When they come to my booth, I have a drawing slip that I have them fill out to get on my list and to get into my drawing for free stuff, right? So you have to do these little things online. You have to have landing pages. You have to have pages where people can get stuff for free. Please don't just send them to your homepage to try to find the free thing. Put an actual page together that it makes it easy for them to find your free thing. Okay, so if you like, I don't have all those links totally ready. Hold on a second. I could give you one. I could give you one in just a second. So here's one copy. It happens to be my free speaker audio training page. So when I give a talk like this, if I'm doing some kind of free offer at the end, I just want to get people on my list, I put this link out there, and I might put a wording on it like, hey, go get my free speaker audio training, where I talk about the 6 things that I usually do in my other talk, right? So that's my free link, free page. And all that's there is just like, get the free thing, right? And tells you why you need it. And then of course there's a paid speaker training and all that. So, but in the follow-up then please send multiple emails, do phone calls, do direct mail, do social media private messages. So that's 4 things. You can also add text if they've agreed to get. Not everybody uses their cell phone for business. I don't. So anytime I give you my phone number, it's not a cell phone. So you cannot text me because I'm not going to get it. Right. So don't assume everybody uses their cell phone. That's still not the best strategy. Okay. But direct mail, email, phone. So you need to start getting some phone numbers, private message them on Facebook. You guys see all of our first and last names here, with the exception of Kay McGuire. We don't know if she's a Kim or a Kelly or whatever, but we know all our first and last names. Through this whole hour, you should have written every single one of them down. This is what I do when I am speaking, or sometimes I'll just take a screenshot. So everybody smile and take a screenshot. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. And then I have your names, right? Because I took a screenshot. So boop, I can go look you up on Facebook and LinkedIn and send you private messages. You've got to do the follow-up. I have one client that says she doesn't like to chase people. It's not chasing. They want to hear from you. And if they don't, they will say, oh, you know what? It's okay. I wasn't interested, but thank you. And, thanks for following up. Most people feel honored when you follow up, right? Do you guys feel honored when people follow up with you?
Yes.
More than just an email? Right? So you've got to do all these things. And so I'll put some links in the chat. If you guys want to come to my event, please, it's in October. It's this times 20 different topics and it's on steroids. So I would love to have you. Mary's been, Tracy's been, and they can tell you what it's like. And Agnes has been, yes. And yeah, and I'm going to give you guys ticket for, instead of $97, it's $97 for 3 days with me. 3 days with me is already ridiculous, but I'm going to do it for just the $57 materials fee, and you'll get a whole bunch of fun stuff in the mail. So
Nice.
yeah.
Thanks, Katrina. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. If you wrote anything down and feel like, oh my gosh, my speech needs assistance, I really need to connect with Katrina, then do it. Because the longer you wait to connect with her, if you need to work on your speech and you're not already working with a coach and someone that can assist you through that, then you need to connect with Katrina, right? Absolutely. So make sure you guys are doing that. A couple of housekeeping things. And thank you so much, Katrina. Today was very insightful, a ton of information, but very engaging, right? I love the engaging ones where we all get to participate and talk about our stuff. So there is no Teaching Tuesday next week. On our website, we have not changed it yet because it got forgotten about. We're changing it today. No Teaching Tuesday next week. I will be on a beach, probably snorkeling in Cancun. No Teaching Tuesday next week, okay? The following Tuesday is October 12th. We're going to be doing a Teaching Tuesday on solo travel tips for empowerment and safety. Every single female should be attending this one. It's about how to travel safely. Nicole is, she teaches self-defense. She teaches a lot of other things, and I want you guys to come and hear what she has to say. So sign up for that. I'm dropping the link right now into the chat as a reminder. Do not sign up for the one next week. We will send you an email and say, sorry, we won't be there. So just don't even sign up for it. We're moving her to another day. So make sure you sign up for the one on October 12th. And ladies, thank you for being with us today, Katrina. Like totally such great information for anybody who owns a business that has to get the word out. Or if you're writing an article for the magazine, or if you're showing up on my podcast, or if you're showing up on any speaking platform that I have for you in Lead Up for Women, all of these tips today were very powerful. People will not buy from you if you're not letting them know why they need to buy from you. You've got to tell them why they need to buy from you. What's in it for them, right? And I love that Katrina's not afraid to say, you need to go sign up with me right now. You need to book a call with me right now. Tell people what they need and why. And if you have a speech right now or don't have a speech, you need to be working with Katrina. If you're already a private client of mine, obviously I can work with you and bring in Katrina to do what we need to do for talks or anything that's above where I really feel comfortable in wanting to go. So, but if you're not, you need to be working with Katrina. Let her help you so you can make more money. That's what this is about, right? Why are you wasting your time if you're not going to make money off of speaking? Yeah. That's what it's about. All about the money. It just sits right here on my desk, all the $100 bills. All right, ladies, it's time to go for today. I will see you all October 12th. For those of you that want to join me later today, 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific, I'm doing just an hour workshop on some topics about things in my life and what I've been able to do to make them successful and how I've got to where I am today. So join me if you're free. All right, ladies, we'll talk to you later. Katrina, thank you.
Thanks, you guys. If you want to
Bye, everybody.
tonight.